Most people are waiting, waiting for the right time, waiting for the right idea, waiting for a sign, waiting for permission. But here's the brutal truth: life doesn't wait. It doesn't pause until you feel ready. It keeps moving, and if you keep waiting, life will leave you behind. The people who build things, who make an impact, they aren't necessarily smarter than you. They just start. They begin, they try, they fail. And then they try again. The difference between you and the person changing the world isn't talent. It's effort. It's the decision to try, even when the odds are stacked, even when it's not perfect, even when failure feels guaranteed. Most people spend their lives waiting. They wait for the right time, the right mood, the right opportunity, the right people, the right resources, the right energy. They wait for some magical alignment of stars that signals now is the time, but that moment never comes. Because there is no perfect time, there never has been, and there never will be. The illusion of the perfect moment is the greatest thief of progress. It convinces people that sitting still is smart. That preparation without action is noble. That perfection is a prerequisite for movement. But what it really is fear dressed up as patience. It's hesitation disguised as strategy. It's inaction wearing the mask of wisdom. The truth is simple: if you're waiting, you're wasting. There are people who started with less than you and moved further because they didn't wait. They didn't let their lack of resources become a reason to stop. They didn't need permission, applause, or guarantees. They needed only the decision to begin. When you believe there's a right time to start, what you're really doing is avoiding the discomfort of beginning unprepared. You're trying to protect yourself from embarrassment, from failure, from struggle. But all growth starts in those places. Every meaningful achievement begins with someone stepping into the unknown with shaky hands and imperfect tools. They begin when it's hard, when it's messy, when nothing feels ready, because if you're only willing to act when things are easy, you'll never act at all. The resistance you feel to starting isn't a signal to pause, it's proof that what you're trying to do actually matters. That voice in your head telling you to wait, it's not logic, it's fear. It's your comfort zone begging for one more day, one more excuse, one more hour of hiding. The ones who break through in this world don't wait. They begin where they are. They use what they have. They learn as they go. The act of starting unlocks energy. It creates momentum. You don't need all the answers to begin. You don't need to be ready. You just need to move. Movement is the cure for doubt. It's the antidote to fear. It's the only thing that separates dreams from reality. The difference between a successful person and someone still stuck in their own head is that the successful one began without waiting for a perfect day. They knew that perfection was the enemy of progress, that there would never be a day when everything felt ideal. They understood that movement invites clarity, that momentum is created, not found. The idea that someday you'll be more ready than you are right now is a lie that will steal your future. You can keep refining your plan, keep imagining better timing, keep polishing your excuses, but at the end of it all, time keeps moving, with or without your effort. Your dream will either happen because you started before you were ready, or it will disappear because you kept waiting for a green light that never came. The people who act know this truth deeply, that readiness is a decision, not a condition. That you become ready through doing, that trying, failing, adjusting, and trying again is the process. You won't know what you're truly capable of until you begin, and that beginning doesn't have to be grand or loud or impressive. It just has to be now, because every day you wait, you lose a piece of what could have been. Every hour you stall, your opportunity quietly slips further away, not because it's gone, but because you refused to meet it where it was. You believed it would wait for you to feel ready, but opportunity doesn't wait. It shows up disguised as work, as uncertainty, as risk, and only those who are willing to start, without guarantees, without certainty, get to meet it. Talent is often misunderstood. People think it's everything, that if someone is naturally gifted, they're destined to succeed, that talent alone guarantees victory. But the truth is far less romantic. Talent without effort is wasted potential. It's an unused tool, a car with no fuel, a blueprint never built, Effort, on the other hand, doesn't care how gifted you are. It doesn't rely on how you started, only on how far you're willing to go. The world is filled with talented people who did nothing with what they were given. People who had everything they needed to win, but never showed up to compete, because they believed talent was enough. They thought their natural ability gave them a pass to skip the hard part, but talent doesn't build things, sweat does, persistence does, trying every single day does. When someone shows up and puts in the work, even if they don't start out with natural skill, they grow. They evolve, they sharpen themselves over time. Effort multiplies ability. Repetition builds strength. Showing up every day, especially when no one is watching, creates a power that raw talent alone can never match. Effort is uncomfortable. It doesn't give you quick results. It tests you. It demands resilience. It asks how badly you want it. And the truth is, most people don't want it enough. They want the outcome, not the process. They want the rewards, not the discipline. But the ones who are willing to outwork their excuses, outlast their doubts, and push past their limits, they are the ones who make it. There's a danger in being naturally talented. It can make you lazy. It can trick you into thinking you've already won, that you're entitled to success because things came easy once. But the real world doesn't reward what you could do. It rewards what you do. Every time, someone with less talent but more drive will eventually pass the one who stands still, because effort is the great equalizer. It closes gaps. It turns underdogs into champions. It transforms average into extraordinary. Every time someone says, "I'm not naturally good at this," they're missing the point. No one is born great. They become great through practice, through struggle, through a relentless refusal to quit. That's how the impossible becomes possible. Talent gives you a head start, but effort determines how far you go. A talented person who avoids challenges, who gives up when things get hard, will always lose to the one who keeps going no matter what. Effort is about showing up even when the mood is gone, even when motivation dries up, even when there's no applause, no reward, no immediate results. It's about building something out of nothing, using only your time, your focus, your grit. It's about becoming a student of your own failure, learning from every mistake, adjusting, pushing again. Effort creates transformation. It builds character. It molds identity. There are no shortcuts when it comes to mastering something. No one stumbles into greatness. No one arrives there by accident. It's a process of iteration, of falling and getting up, of doing what most people refuse to do. Stay consistent, keep pushing, keep trying, especially when you don't feel like it, especially when it's hard, because that's the separation line between those who dream and those who do. Effort is the bridge between who you are and who you could become. And while talent may get you noticed, only effort will keep you in the game. Only effort will allow you to grow beyond your limits, outlast your failures, and carve your name into something that lasts. Excuses are comfortable, they're easy to create, even easier to believe. They sound logical, they feel justified, and they give you a way out. But underneath every excuse is fear, fear of failing, fear of being seen trying, fear of effort without guarantee. When you strip away the surface of your excuse, you'll find a truth that's harder to admit. It's not that you can't, it's that you won't. Not that it's impossible, but that it's uncomfortable. People say they don't have time, but spend hours scrolling, watching, talking about what they wish they could do. People say they don't have the right tools, but forget that the most powerful tool is effort. Not technology, not connections, not money, just the raw will to keep showing up. Excuses have a way of making you feel smart. They make inaction seem like the responsible thing, like waiting is wisdom. Like delay is strategy, but deep down, it's hesitation dressed in reason. It's avoidance camouflaged in logic. The mind is clever. It will always find a way to protect you from discomfort. It will rationalize your hesitation and justify your stagnation. But nothing grows in that state. No progress, no learning, no creation. When you live inside your excuse, you live inside a cage you built yourself, and the longer you stay there, the more it feels like truth. until you forget what you are capable of. Every time you tell yourself "I can't," you weaken your own identity. Every time you repeat an excuse, it becomes a belief, and those beliefs become patterns. And those patterns become your life. You don't need perfect conditions. You need courage. You need the willingness to face resistance, to be bad before you get good, to fail before you succeed. The ones who do something meaningful don't have fewer fears. They have fewer excuses. They choose to act, even when it's not convenient, even when it's not safe. They don't need everything to be right. They just need a reason to begin. Excuses are contagious. The more you make them, the easier it becomes to repeat them. They start small, "not today," "I'm tired," "I'm not ready," and they grow into identity. Suddenly you're not just avoiding action, you're becoming someone who doesn't try. Someone who lets dreams decay in the name of comfort. But that comfort is shallow, because deep down, the voice inside knows you're built for more. It knows you're capable. It knows that the only thing standing between you and progress is the lie you keep repeating to yourself. The real cost of excuses isn't just lost time, it's lost potential. It's the version of you that never existed because you kept saying later. It's the opportunities that passed you by while you were rationalizing your inaction. It's the regret that builds slowly, quietly, as you watch others move forward with less. Excuses don't protect you from failure, they guarantee it. Not the kind that comes from trying and falling, but the kind that comes from never starting. The invisible kind, the kind that's harder to notice but more painful to live with. You don't need to fix everything before you start. You don't need a clear path. You don't need approval. What you need is the ability to tell yourself the truth. To admit that your excuse is a choice, that your reasons are stories, that behind every limitation is an opportunity to push through. The moment you stop justifying your limits, you start expanding them. The second you decide to act, despite the discomfort, you separate yourself from everyone still making excuses. And that separation is everything. Because where others wait, you move. Where others doubt, you decide. Where others hold back, you lean in. And every single time you do that, you get stronger. Not just in skill, but in identity. You stop seeing obstacles as reasons to pause and start seeing them as invitations to rise. Most people believe they need clarity before they begin. They wait to feel certain, to know the outcome, to be sure that every step is mapped out before they take the first one. But clarity doesn't come before action. It's born out of it. You don't think your way into understanding. You act your way into it. When you move even without full confidence, things begin to shift. You see the terrain. You feel the resistance. You learn where you're weak, where you're strong, what works, and what doesn't. The road reveals itself not to those who stare at the horizon, but to those who take the first step, and then the next. People who wait for clarity are chasing a mirage. They think that if they just plan harder, prepare longer, visualize better, then eventually the perfect moment will arrive with a roadmap and guarantees. But that moment never comes. Clarity doesn't appear in stillness. It arrives in motion. It's the reward for showing up, not the prerequisite. The mind can only guess so much. The real information comes when your hands are dirty, when your feet are moving, when you're inside the process instead of outside analyzing it. You can spend your whole life trying to be ready, trying to feel confident, trying to eliminate risk, but none of that matters if you never begin. The real breakthroughs, the deep insights, the moments where things start to make sense, they only come once you're already doing the thing. You won't find direction sitting in a room thinking. You'll find it by trying, failing, adjusting, and repeating that cycle until the noise starts to fade and something real takes shape. Clarity is the byproduct of action. It doesn't show up all at once. It shows up gradually, piece by piece, through motion. Those who succeed don't always know what they're doing at the start. They're not certain. They're not always confident, but they have the courage to try anyway. They understand that certainty is overrated, that perfection is a myth, that the only way to get better is to begin before you feel ready. Waiting for everything to make sense before taking action is like refusing to swim until you've mastered the ocean. It's not how growth works. You learn by doing. You find the rhythm by getting in the water and feeling the current, not by studying the waves from the shore. The need for clarity becomes a crutch. It becomes another excuse. Another reason to delay. Another layer of fear dressed up as wisdom. But the truth is, the longer you wait to begin, the more disconnected you become from your goals. You start building fantasies instead of realities. You get addicted to the idea of doing something instead of actually doing it, and ideas alone change nothing. Motion does, effort does, trial and error does. The process is never clean or linear. It's messy. It's chaotic, but within that chaos lies the truth you've been searching for. Every step you take forward teaches you something. Every mistake is a lesson you couldn't learn by thinking. Every attempt refines your direction. The clarity you want is waiting for you on the other side of effort, not just once, but continuously. Because clarity isn't a destination you reach, it's a state you earn again and again by being in motion. By showing up, doing the work, and staying committed through uncertainty. That's where the answers live, not in more thinking, not in more planning, in movement, in action, in the willingness to begin despite not having everything figured out. Failure is one of the most misunderstood experiences in life. People see it as the end, as the confirmation that they weren't good enough, that they shouldn't have tried in the first place. They treat it like a dead end, something to be feared, avoided, and buried. But failure isn't the end. It's part of the beginning. It's a natural and necessary stage of every journey worth taking. The first version of anything you do will be flawed. Your first attempt at something new will not be your best. It's not supposed to be, that's the point. Failure gives you data. It gives you insight. It tells you what doesn't work so you can get closer to what does. Every person who has built something meaningful has walked through the fire of failure. They've stumbled, missed the mark, made bad decisions, and had to start again. But they understood something most people don't. Failure is not final, it's formative. It shapes you, refines you, sharpens your judgment. It reveals your weak spots, your blind spots, your assumptions. It shows you where your effort fell short and where your understanding was incomplete. But it doesn't say you're incapable. It says you're learning. It says you're in motion. It means you're trying. The fear of failure keeps more people stuck than failure itself ever could. Because most people aren't actually afraid of losing. They're afraid of being seen losing. Of looking foolish, of being judged. They tie their identity to their results, so when something doesn't work, they think it means they're not enough. But failure isn't a reflection of who you are. It's a moment, not a definition. It's a test, not a label. The only way it becomes permanent is if you stop. If you decide that a single moment, a single setback, a single rejection is the full story. But it never is. Failure is a teacher. And like any teacher, it demands your attention. It doesn't whisper, it shouts. It puts your flaws under a microscope and dares you to look. That's uncomfortable. That's why most people avoid it. But those who are willing to examine their failures are the ones who grow. They don't run from the hard parts. They study them. They ask why things didn't work, what they missed, how they can be better. They use the loss as leverage. They take the broken pieces and build something stronger. Because when you take failure personally, you collapse. But when you take it seriously, you evolve. There's a freedom in failing. It strips away the illusion of perfection. It humbles you. It reminds you that progress is earned, not assumed. That growth is messy, that nothing worth building comes without setbacks. Every attempt that doesn't work is still progress because it means you're in the arena. You're gaining experience that can't be learned from the sidelines. You're collecting lessons that theory alone can never teach. The pain of failure is temporary, but the insight you gain from it can last forever. If you're willing to face it, learn from it, and keep going. Most people want to skip this part. They want success without bruises, mastery without mistakes, certainty without chaos, but that's not how it works. There's no smooth path to something great. The bumps, the falls, the stumbles, they're part of the path. They're proof that you're moving forward, proof that you're challenging yourself, that you're not playing it safe. You can't grow without breaking old patterns. You can't improve without confronting what you're doing wrong. And that confrontation happens in failure. That's where your real education begins. That's where you get honest with yourself. That's where you stop pretending and start becoming. Every failure is a pivot point, a chance to change direction, upgrade your strategy, deepen your resolve. It's not a stop sign. It's a signal that you're in the game, that you're one step closer to getting it right. Potential is invisible. It doesn't show up in your bank account, your resume, your social media, or your title. It lives inside you, quiet, waiting, full of possibility. But potential by itself means nothing. It doesn't guarantee success. It doesn't promise impact. It's only a starting point. What matters is what you do with it. People walk around with incredible ideas, skills, talents, and dreams, but none of that carries any weight until it's applied, until it's acted on, until it's used. The tragedy isn't that people aren't capable. It's that they never find out how capable they truly are because they never put their potential to the test. Everyone talks about what they could do if they had the time, the opportunity, the right environment. They talk about what they would do if the world was different, but the world isn't going to change to match your comfort. The circumstances aren't going to shape themselves to your vision. You have to move first. You have to create the space, make the time, build the habits, and start using what you've been given. Potential doesn't grow in theory. It grows through pressure, through repetition, through doing the uncomfortable, the inconvenient, the unglamorous work that no one sees but that shapes everything: your energy, your ideas, your ability to endure. All of it will fade if you don't use it. Muscles that go unused shrink. Skills that aren't practiced decay. Passion without action turns to frustration. You weren't given potential to admire it like a trophy. You were given it to build something, to contribute, to create, to make something real out of something invisible. The people who rise are not the ones with the most gifts. They're the ones who refuse to let those gifts stay hidden. They're the ones who show up even when no one's watching, who push even when it's hard, who do the work when motivation is gone. You won't know how strong you are until you put yourself in situations that require strength. You won't know how creative you are until you're forced to solve a real problem. You won't know how far you can go until you start walking, not knowing how long the road is, but deciding to take it anyway. That's how potential turns into progress. That's how dreams become results. It's not about having something others don't. It's about doing something others won't. The world is full of people with unused brilliance. People who could have built something incredible, but didn't. Not because they lacked the tools, but because they lacked the discipline to use them. Potential without action turns into regret. You look back and wonder what could have happened if you had just started, just tried, just kept going a little longer. The truth is, there is no right moment to begin. There is only the choice to use what you have where you are and let your progress shape the rest. What you're capable of isn't fixed. It expands with every effort, every step, every failure, every lesson. But none of that happens if you don't take the first step. Talking about your goals doesn't move you forward. Planning endlessly doesn't move you forward. Only effort does. Only action pulls your potential out of hiding and gives it form. You become powerful the moment you stop waiting for someone else to unlock that power and decide to use it yourself. No one can do it for you. No one can want it for you more than you want it for yourself. Your potential isn't waiting to be discovered. It's waiting to be used. Every day you sit on it, it slips further away. Every day you take action, even the smallest step, you bring it closer to reality. The future doesn't belong to the most talented. It belongs to the ones who show up and put their potential to work.